Day 31 of lockdown. We did it, you guys. A month. Yay. And to celebrate, we are going to be delving deep inside the exciting and glamorous world of the published author as I sit here quietly in my chair making corrections to my new book for the next several hours. But actually though, I did think it might be kind of interesting to give you a little bit of a behind the scenes in how a book comes together. So the book I'm working on today is called Who Am I and Why Do I Matter? And it's the next one in this big question series, which God willing, I think is supposed to come out in May next year. But one thing that I've learned from my time in publishing is that you have to have your book ready like way in advance of when it comes out. Like for instance, I'm supposed to have these corrections in by the end of the week. So let's start those. But rewinding the tape a little bit, because this is like, obviously I've got a first draft here, so some work has already been done. Let me go back and explain what the process is like from the beginning. Well, I guess I should say a process, because every book comes together slightly differently. So like, for example, this series already has a publisher, which means I don't have to go find one of those. And it also means that right from the beginning of the project, we've been working on it together. So we'd already sat down and brainstormed a whole bunch of books that we'd ideally like to write for this series if people like the first few enough for us to make more. And it turns out you did, so thanks, great. We're gonna do another one. So step one, pick the topic. Step two is before I even start writing the first draft, I go away and write an outline, kind of basically that chapter by chapter of what I think the book is going to be. This is pretty much what I gave them originally. So they take that away and talk about it. We put a contract together. They suggest a few changes. I suggest a few changes. And eventually, ideally, we get started writing the actual book. So I go away and write this. This one in particular was written mostly very early in the morning before school started because, you know, you got to fit it in somewhere. Then the next step is I email a copy of that off to my editor. Then after a couple of weeks, she comes back to me with this version, which is the same, like it's still my book, but it's got all of these changes and edits and suggestions and stuff. And then I read through all of this and I go, what? How dare you? Don't you understand that I am an artist of unprecedented genius? How dare you make suggestions about what I should do to my book? And then I go to bed, and then I wake up, and then I look at it again, and I'm like, oh no, you're right though. And then we usually jump on a Zoom call. So Rachel, my editor's over in the UK, so I have never met her in person, but she's very nice on Zoom. We chat through some ideas about how to fix stuff, which brings us to today, when I really need to stop making a video and actually get onto these edits. So I'm gonna do that now for a while. See, I told you this part was very exciting and glamorous. So this is clearly going to take more than a day. And turns out watching me sit here quietly and make corrections is not the most riveting viewing. But you know what's hopefully more interesting than watching me edit a book I haven't finished? It's reading a book I have finished. And guess what? This one is currently available for 30% off. Wow! It's a 100-day guide to the Gospel of Mark. It's designed to help you open the Bible and read it for yourself and figure out what it's all about. And if you want to get it, I will put some links in the description. So there you go. In the meantime, I'm going to sit here and read this one.